Hey everyone, we're back with kind of part two to the last video. The last video where I flipped that coin really badly. And I believe in that video we did thrift store finds. Now we're going to do the record collection that I got. And in that time, since filming that last video, my thrift store finds, I've filled a complete box of thrift store finds, which I guess will give me further content, I guess, further things to show you. But I woke up this morning after working all night and I saw the news that Glenn Campbell has passed away. So you'll know what day this is if you're watching this. You know if the world's still around and we haven't blown ourselves up. If it's around, you'll know what day this is. Glenn Campbell passed away. Now I'm not gonna sit here and start digging through all my records looking for any Glenn Campbell to show, but I have shown Glenn Campbell albums in my videos before. And Glenn Campbell, it means a lot to some people I'm kind of friendly with on YouTube, but he meant a lot to my dad. And I grew up with Glenn Campbell and Conway Twitty, and I've talked about these people before, but they were just kind of they're part of my DNA because there was a steady diet of all that music in my house. And the Glenn Campbell TV show, that was a fixture in my house. And I mean, thankfully my dad, in an odd way, my dad passed away about 5 years ago because all the people he loved are passing away. He would have been really heartbroken by Glenn Campbell passing away. I mean, my dad lived to see Elvis Presley die, obviously, and Conway Twitty and a few of his other favorites. But Glenn Campbell probably would have been a particular big blow to him. So anyways, long story short, yeah, that was kind of a bummer. I really, really loved that documentary on Glenn Campbell. That if you haven't seen, please go on Netflix and watch the documentary. That documentary kind of re-sparked my interest in Glenn Campbell and kind of finding out what did my dad find in Glenn Campbell that really kind of tuned him in to his music. Anyways, I'm not going to bore you all with that, but we're just kind of reminding myself of my dad and all that. We're playing Wichita Lineman. If you can hear it in the background, some people say they can't. How about I be quiet? Anyways, we're listening to Wichita Lineman at the moment. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer way to start the day. And to those of you who Glenn meant a lot to, you know, I'm kind of my heart's with you today. All right, we're gonna get to this record collection I bought. Record collections, it's all relative. I know Billy Hurst has shown quite a few really big collections he's bought recently, and this collection I bought off this woman, I guess technically speaking it is a collection because this was the extent of all the records she owned, but it's not, you know, you see these massive haul videos, and I'm not speaking of yours, Billy, but where they're showing 1,500 records, and I couldn't afford that many records at one drop, and really, if I could, I wouldn't. In the past, I've had a couple bigger collections. I bought a collection once a few years back. And it was probably about 1,000 in total, but I bought them over every 2 weeks, every payday. I would go and buy 500 and buy 500. So I kind of spaced it out that way. Cheers, everyone. So any collections I buy nowadays, which I don't really do a lot anymore, I kind of make sure they're smaller ones, which this one was. Basically, we'll preface this: if it was crap, I didn't buy it, unless I could mix and match it with another album I have. Also, the average price, we'll get this out of the way now. The average price, once I kind of, you know, once I took the crap out and showed her, no, this is roached. Hey Jay. Once I showed her those ones and she didn't realize they were in there. We tossed those ones out, and it was about $250 a record. So keep that in mind. Let's get right to this. I don't need to preface this with any of the circumstances. There was a lady who recently got divorced, and here I am telling you about this lady. Got divorced, selling her record collection, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, we'll start off with, and this record collection is kind of a lot of standard fare. Maybe not to some of you. And then a couple of things I pulled out where it takes like a huge left turn, which you'll see. Stay with me here. Anyways, Frank Zappa, Joe's Garage. for a cult artist, god damn, do I find a lot of Frank Zappa albums. Who knew he sold so many? I'm not the biggest Zappa fan. I know Mitch Woods is a big Zappa fan, but I find enough where I get to sample enough. Anyways, not always my cup of tea. I'll be honest with you. I respect those who do have ears for Frank's music, but you know what? I'll Joe's Garage. This is Act 1, by the way. I do have a copy of Act 2 kicking around. I got it at a thrift store not too long ago. And you know what? I'll give him another try. So anyways, there's Joe's Garage. Some Zeppelin albums. Like I said, some standard stuff. This is an original coda with the embossed sleeve. Original Swan song. Coda to me, yeah, if it stays here, if not, I wouldn't miss it. As some of you know, coda is, it is what it is. But this one I was kind of excited about. I do have an original pressing of this, and a couple times in this video, I'm going to try to keep this brief. But I'm going to reference original pressings, which is more like an ego stroke to say you have an original pressing of something, because it's not necessarily the best pressing, which I'll illustrate. The best example I can give off the top of my head is the early Elektra Records pressings, the early Love records, the early Doors records. The later 70s ones are definitely better than those original Elektra ones. Anyways, I've talked about this with some of my friends. We're all kind of in agreement. Those original gold Elektra ones, they're not always the best. And I'll use this one for an example. The original, this is a Canadian pressing of Led Zeppelin 4, which I got in this lady's collection. Pristine 1977-78 pressing. And I have an original pressing of this one from Canada. And I would honestly have to prefer this one. Obviously, there's the new remasters that came out, which I don't own, which I'll take people's word for that they're really good. To my ears, the kind of the tricolor Atlantic ones, the red, green, and white label ones, I think they crap all over the original pressings in Canada anyways. So I'm going to reference this a few times just to kind of illustrate that just because it's first pressing, in no way does that mean it's the best pressing. Prime example, you may disagree with me. That's what I feel anyways. And also a copy of The Song Remains the Same I got in the collection. I thought I didn't have this, but I do, but it only has one record in it. So some doofus, I'm the doofus, one of the records I've misplaced and I've misfiled. So as of now, I have a copy with the one record in it. What I'll do with it, who knows, but I got a nice stellar copy of Songs Remains the Same with both records in it that some smart person filed both records back after playing. It must have been that night I had a couple sips of beer. Got all rowdy. By the way, my wife's gone for a couple days out of town, which means that I can play whatever the hell I want. It's a rare treat. Not that she's gone, because I'll miss her. But there's a lot of bands I can't play. Out of respect to her, I'm going to play them all next couple days. Like this band, Black Sabbath Paranoid. Another prime example I'm going to give you. This was, like I said, this is all from that lady's collection. I have an original Canadian pressing on the Gold Warner label, I believe, in Canada. And it's not the best pressing. And my original pressing is really nice. And I'm not sure about the UK original presses, but the Canadian original ones, This is I'm guessing this is like a mid to late 70s pressing. And clean as a whistle, and it plays incredibly nice. So another example of, I'll try not to reference it too many times. Original pressing, not always the best. Some Stones ones. Actually, there's a couple Stones here. Oh yeah, they're misfiled. Anyways, standard stuff. Tattoo You was in that collection. Some Girls. As far as the Stones go, I have to agree with Billy Hurst. He made a video. If you know Billy Hurst, go to his channel. He made a video of, I think it was the top 10 bands that the vinyl community seems to love that he can't. Either he can't stand or can't wrap his head around. The Stones was in there, and I have to agree with him. The Stones for me are so hit and miss, it's not even funny. And before I filmed this video, I had a look at my Rolling Stones collection, and it's about yay big, and it's all stuff from thrift stores. I've never paid full price for a Stones album. Obviously, they've sold a lot of albums, but I keep on finding them. And I tell you, the Stone stuff, sorry, some are great. I think they're a great singles band. And the instance of them making great albums, they have, but I think they're few and far between. So I'll gladly buy Stones albums for $1, or in this case $2.50. But very, very hit and miss for me. Definitely, I'm not bagging on the Stones. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to hear any comments that I'm ripping on them. I'm not. God knows I have enough of their albums. I just think they're probably the best, sloppiest band in the world, or inconsistent, anyways. And in an odd way, I kind of prefer a lot of their later albums. In an odd kind of way, morose kind of way. This is where the kind of there's a couple of instances in this collection where the collection kind of just kind of veers off. Stones, Zeppelin, you're going to see some other standard stuff coming up, but then Velvet Underground. I already have this album, and with, you know, I could be a complete nerd, and I'm going to have to and look up the matrix numbers, because with Velvet Underground albums, I kind of look to the back to see if there's any barcodes or indicators that maybe what era. There's a barcode, you know it's going to be kind of maybe 80s-ish into the 90s, into the 2000s, but this has no barcode, because I'm dropping it. Obviously, it's not original, because it's not the peel banana thing. So, who knows what, I don't know what pressing it is. I have this, so this will find a new home. But that was in the collection. This one I don't have, though, and it's in the shrink still. And once again, I can't tell you what pressing it is. It's White Light, White Heat by the Velvet Underground, still in the shrink, if you can see the reflection there. I'm going to guess this is probably a newer pressing, as in probably in the last 15 years or so. It's too nice to be anything close to an early 70s, my opinion. So a White Light, White Heat, that will definitely stay in my collection. This is one of those oddball ones. It sticks out like a sore thumb, but Ozark Mountain Daredevils, It's Alive. I don't know. It's, like I said, it was a very random collection I bought. From what I understand, and not to give too much backstory, it was kind of a comped collection of her and her ex-husbands. So I'm going to guess some of these left turn ones were hers, and some of the standard stuff was his, I guess. I don't know. Ozark Mountain Daredevils, It's Alive, never heard it. I know the band. I'll give it a spin. Lou Reed, Rock and Roll Heart, one I don't have. Like the Stones, Lou Reed for me is, it's hit and miss. There's those couple 70s albums that I just, you know, Transformer, ones like that I have in my collection, and they're kind of mainstays. But after that, yeah, New York is quite good. Lulu, got you on that one. I don't mind Lulu. Anyways, Lou Reed for me. Yeah. So I have not heard this album. I'll give it a listen. Whether it sticks around, I don't know. Whether it makes the cut. And much like the Rolling Stones, I'm kind of keep tabs on the time here. That means keeping tabs. By the way, full points if you know this band. We're going to go switch into Glide. Anyways. Much like the Stones, I have a Hendrix collection that is massive. Massive from thrift stores. And I have multiple copies of a few of these albums. The only Hendrix album I've actually paid money for is my original nude cover of Our Experience. Which, I was going to pull it. You know what? Let me do something really weird. I'm going to go pull it. It's right here. Trust me. Electric Ladyland. I'm wrong, it's Electric Ladyland. This is the only album that I've ever paid full price for Hendrix. This is I believe it's a very, very early pressing UK copy, Electric Ladyland. What did I call it? Are you experienced? I don't rehearse these things, okay? Anyways, like I said, like the Stones, come across tons of Hendrix albums. So, like I said, I have a whole collection made up of dollar store Hendrix records that are all in decent condition. But in this one, here's the cool thing about some of these and some of these other ones you're going to see. These were sealed. And much to people's horror, I sliced them open. Because I'm not going to keep sealed vinyl no more. Why? I was never one to keep sealed vinyl to start with. But I noticed that I had a few kicking around. So there was a few records in this collection that were sealed. And like it or not, I cracked them open, and one was this. Are You Experienced? Or maybe I'll call this one Electric Ladyland to kind of even up for the other one, the other screw up I made. Anyways, this one was sealed. And from what I gather, I have an original Canadian pressing of this one, and I have one of the new mono reissues. This is probably, I looked it up, it's about a mid-70s pressing, sealed, and it sounds super nice, obviously. So that was in that collection. This one's very dodgy, and I don't think it's going to stick around in my collection, but it's a Hendrix album called Gangster of Love. It's on a UK label called Charlie, which I have a few CDs on that label, and it's releases on Charlie are dubious at best, and this looks like a dubious album to me. Not quite official releases. Gangsters of Love. I have not even listened to it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. This is probably my 4th copy of Band of Gypsies I've come across in the last couple of years. This one has a tiny bit of water damage, but like I always say, and Linda was quoting what I said in one of her videos, thank you, was I don't play the cover. So this might be one of those albums that I kind of mix and match, and because the vinyl's really nice in this one, and I'll make the perfect copy. So another copy of Band of Gypsies I got. One I don't own, and one I would never really seek out, but it came in this collection. I'll play it if I like it. It might stick around. Rainbow Bridge soundtrack. That was in the collection. Some more standard kind of fare Van Halen. A nice copy of Diver Down. And the first Van Halen. What's a record collection without some Van Halen? And same as this band. What's a record collection without finding some AC/DC? I got another copy If You Want Blood and another copy of Dirty Deeds. I already have those, so I'm sure those will find a new home. 10 Years After, A Space and Time. To me, this is one of those kind of essential albums you need to own. The big song, I'd Love to Change the World. We all know that song. If you don't look it up, I'd Love to Change the World, 10 Years After. You hear it on classic rock radio every day. That song is not like the rest of the album. It's not representational of the rest of the album, and I've heard many interviews of them talking about that, and Alvin Lee talking about it. The album, you need to hear the whole album, and that song kind of stands apart from the rest of the album. To me, it's one of those albums you kind of, if you don't own it, you probably need to listen to it at least once in your lifetime. Space and Time, 10 Years After. We're getting to the end here. An MCA copy of Tommy. I already have a copy of Tommy. I'm doing stuff. This is groundbreaking for me. I'm grabbing stuff out of my collection because it's right in front of me. I already have a collection. I have a copy of Tommy. Actually, it might be the exact same MCA copy I have. So I have two of the same ones. Obviously, I have a nice stellar copy. I'll probably be using this for trade bait. But Tommy was in there. And, oh yeah, I still got, oh, okay, I gotta hurry up here. I thought I was done. This is where another band where, some finds that, where the collection kind of, I went, what? I'm mumbling now, sorry. You know, you got Hendrix, Rolling Stones, and you got White Stripes. Like I said, I'm guessing these were belonging to the woman, who seemed a little bit more hip. Really a kind of an unplayed copy of Under the Great Northern Lights, which was a live album, double live album recorded on their Canadian tour. I had a White Stripes story to tell you, and I'm going to just X-nate X for running along on time here. I've been waiting for a reasonably priced copy to come up on Amazon or somewhere. Haven't seen it. Got one for $2.50. Another White Stripes album I didn't own. First album. That was in there. And then Louis XIV. I remember selling this album in one of my record stores. It was one of those kind of hipster albums that a lot of my hipster employees really liked. Never really caught on with me. And I think the band had their 15 minutes, and they're probably working the drive-through when I go to get coffee later tonight. But that's Louis XIV. Obviously, I'll probably just pass that along. I'm going to be really quickly with this one because Beatles. These were all the Beatles that were in that collection. Really quickly, a White Album. Already have the White Album. Most of these are the 1978 Capitol Purple Label copies, which I find really good. Now, take out the new reissues that are coming out, because I'm sure those are stellar. I have a couple of them. The 1978 pressings I find to be really of great quality, and a lot of times, a lot of people go on and on about the original mono pressings of Beatles and da-da-da-da-da-da. Of course, we're talking strictly Canadian pressings, because that's what I have. I found the 1978 pressings when I played them, back to back with the original pressings. I found the 78 ones to be a little bit better, actually, to be honest with you. White Album, there's some cover issues. I'm going to see if I can mix and match this with another cover that I do have for that. No inserts, but a couple of videos ago, you'll notice I found some inserts in a totally unrelated album. So I'm going to piece together a perfect White Album that I can pass along to someone. Hey Jude, a copy of that. That was a really nice one. I got 2 copies, and I'm not sure if I included both copies in here. Trust me, there's 2 copies here. One, oh yeah, okay, one is, I'm trying to straighten, it has a slight warp to it, so I'm trying to straighten that out right now. So it's kind of around the corner there. And there's Abbey Road. This one is, as you can tell, this was one of those sealed ones in the shrink that I did open. How's that? Yeah. Abbey Road, 1978 purple label copy that was sealed. All Things Must Pass. You know what? I don't know what to do with this one. The cover, yeah. I find a few of these. The box is always a bit eh, but the albums inside are really nice, and it's actually the original Capitol Apple record pressings. So what to do with this album? I don't know. I might try to clean up the cover, but the cover's a little bit ripped here. I don't know. Maybe I'll sell it to someone for $5. Who knows? $10. I don't know. But I will try to see if I can kind of fix that box, or maybe mix and match it with another box I might find. Another copy of Abbey Road. This is the exact same pressing, 1978. This one's a little bit faded and been played. What's a Record Collection once again without the Blue Album, Greatest Hits. This is another one that had 2 copies of. The second copy of this one is, you can't see, but it's around the corner where I'm flattening that album. That one I'm kind of just going to salvage for the inserts, and I think one of the records is really good. The other one's kind of really beyond repair. Another one I'm going to kind of try to mix and match and make another good copy of. This was another one that was sealed. It was Rubber Soul. In the shrink here. 1978. Really, really nice condition copy of that one, because you know why? It was sealed. This is one of those ones. This is one of those ones I'm going to say is a complete. It's just an ego thing to say that you have an original mono pressing of Revolver, and I do, because that was in the collection. Capitol Rainbow labels. I have an original Rubber Soul mono pressing. And like I said, I'm not going to, this one will stay in my collection. It's a really kind of, it's probably a VG Plus condition copy. Plays nice. I'll keep this one for the collection. But as I said before, not always the best pressing. But when Beatles come around, if I find original pressings, I'm going to keep those ones. John Lennon, Double Fantasy. Well, no, I'm not going to generalize and say we. A lot of people I know see these in thrift stores and pass them up. It is probably one of the best albums that you'll pass up at a thrift store. You just see it so often. At least I do. I must see one every couple of weeks in a thrift store. In fact, I'm sitting on 2 copies that I found in the last week at thrift stores. It's great top to bottom. If you take out right here, you might like the album a bit better. Yoko's fine with me. I'm Losing You is on this album. The version that's on this album is quite a bit of a neutered version, because on a compilation album that came out a few years ago called Once Upon a Time, they reissued the full band version with Cheap Trick playing guitars in the background, and that guitars and the levels were brought up a bit more, and it was a really rockin' track, and that's turned into one of my favorite John Lennon tracks, oddly enough. The one on here is a little bit neutered. I think he was a little bit scared to have the guitars up that loud, from what I've read. Could be wrong, could be right. One of those myths, who knows. But probably one of the better albums that people see all the time that you pass up. Last one. Beatles Rock and Roll Volume 1. Rock and Roll Music Volume 1. Not the biggest fan of early Beatles. I mean, it's all relative. Yes, I love early Beatles. When people are usually in two minds. There's that everything before Rubber Soul and Revolver, the early yeah, she loves you stuff, and then there's the everything after. If I was given my choice, it's going to be everything after, and the early Beatles. I'll take it or leave it. I certainly wouldn't turn it off if someone was playing it. Woo! And I'm coming in under a half hour. Holy crap. I apologize if I was talking too fast to that video. There was a lot to show. And as it stands now, since the last thrift store find video, I'm probably sitting on about 50-ish really good thrift store finds. I'll probably break those up into different videos. I'm this far in, might as well record some more videos, I guess. Anyways, thanks to everyone who's been really supportive lately of some of my videos. The Scorpions one that I posted, I think some people took it the wrong way. I think some people took it as me seeking approval, whether to buy it or not. It was kind of more of a, underneath it all, it was kind of more of a question posed as to morality in the 70s as opposed to 2017. It was kind of in there somewhere. But like a lot of my videos, I don't rehearse them. Some things come out a little bit ham-fisted, as I always say. So the context of what I'm trying to say doesn't always come through. So yeah, the Scorpions one, it was just food for thought. I didn't need anyone's real okay to get it or not. I'm an older man. I can make my own mind up. It was just kind of well, I wanted to get your thoughts. Is it acceptable? Is it not? Who knows? I'll probably take that video down soon. Who knows? Anyways, I've been David Michael from the vinyl community. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you, everyone who's been subscribing a lot recently. We're inching towards that 1,000 mark, and I've decided, the much talked about contest. I thought when I get to 1,000, we're going to do a contest, and I have a few things pulled in preparation for that. So there'll be some good stuff to give away. So as I inch closer towards that, look forward to a good contest coming up. All right, we're going to go back to switching to glide. That's all ready to go on the turntable. And take care. We'll see you again. Unless something monumental happens, we'll see you next week.